Stop blindly trusting these massive cinematic universes because your favorite superheroes are actually breaking the rules of reality right in front of your eyes. Using advanced AI analysis, we've pinpointed the exact moments where the logic completely collapses and the narrative falls apart. And once you see these shocking blunders, you'll never be able to watch these movies the same way again. Let's start with the destruction problem. In films like Man of Steel and The Avengers, entire city blocks are reduced to rubble, skyscrapers collapse, highways explode, and yet in the very next installment, everything looks economically stable and socially functional, as if billions in infrastructure damage, mass casualties, and total insurance collapse just magically resolved overnight. In reality, one alien invasion would bankrupt a nation, destabilize global markets, and create years of humanitarian crisis. But in these universes, it's basically a long weekend inconvenience. Then we have the super speed paradox. Characters like the Flash or Quicksilver move at near light speed, which means atmospheric friction alone should ignite the air. Their footsteps should create catastrophic shockwaves, and a single punch should land with explosive city-level force. Yet somehow they gently tap villains unconscious without turning them into red mist. And even more illogical, fights last longer than half a second despite the fact that from their perspective everyone else should be frozen in time, meaning the only thing actually slowing them down is the plot itself. And speaking of plot convenience, consider how geniuses and gods suddenly forget their own abilities when the story demands tension. Tony Stark in Avengers. Infinity War has hyper-advanced predictive AI, but repeatedly fails to anticipate obvious threats. Telepaths conveniently miss critical thoughts, and reality-warping beings act shocked by problems they could solve instantly, proving that intelligence and power in these universes fluctuate scene by scene rather than following consistent internal rules. Secret identities are another logical collapse. In a world of satellite surveillance, biometric scanning, and AI-driven facial recognition, there is virtually no chance someone like Spider-Man could swing across New York in a skin-tight suit and remain anonymous when modern algorithms can identify people by gait, voice pattern, and bone structure. Yet somehow a pair of glasses is enough to protect heroes like Superman from global detection. Then there's power-scaling chaos. One movie shows a hero struggling to lift a building, and the next shows them moving celestial objects with ease, with no clear progression or explanation, which quietly destroys narrative stakes because we stop wondering how they'll win and start wondering how much the writers are artificially holding them back. When you actually model these scenarios against physics and consistent character logic, the patterns are clear. Environmental consequences are ignored, abilities contradict established rules, and character competence fluctuates purely for dramatic timing. Meaning these universes survive not because they're logically sound, but because emotional momentum carries them forward faster than scrutiny can catch up. And yet, here's the twist. We still love them, because superhero stories aren't designed to be engineering manuals. They're modern myths about power, sacrifice, identity, and responsibility, and we subconsciously accept the bending of reality for the sake of spectacle. But now that you've seen the cracks, you'll start noticing every moment where physics pauses, intelligence dips, and the universe conveniently reshapes itself to protect the narrative. And once that awareness clicks, you'll never watch your favorite superhero movie the same way again. F this breakdown, change the way you see superhero movies. Then look closer next time the explosions start and the heroic music swells, because that's usually the exact moment the logic quietly slips out the back door. The spectacle gets bigger, the powers get stronger, the stakes get louder, but the internal rules? They bend, stretch, and sometimes completely shatter. And once you start spotting those cracks, you can't unsee them. So the next time a hero saves the world in the most dramatic way possible, ask yourself, did they actually solve the problem, or did the script solve it for them? If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit subscribe and turn on notifications, Because in the next episode, we're exposing the most overpowered superhero abilities that secretly make great storytelling impossible. And trust me, that analysis is going to flip the entire genre on its head.